Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is our a man who is very blue today, Logan Stump.
If I was green, I would die. I think that's how the
not
song
actually the
goes.
real lyric. Did you know that?
I did know that. Yeah, I don't know what the actual lyric is, but
Da-ba-dee-da-ba-die. Yeah, no, I that was always a pet peeve of mine. People be like, "Yes, it says." I'm like, "No, the official lyrics. I got them right here. Don't say that."
Show off.
Yeah, I'm a stickler for that kind of stuff.
I get it.
Yeah, so we're here talking the weekend action and I guess the midweek action that happened for MLS as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Lots more teams punching their tickets to the playoffs. We also had NYCFC, Logan. They beat Atlas in the Campeones Cup. Another MLS team winning that trophy. They win 2-0 at Yankee Stadium. And then they're going to win 2-0 at Yankee Stadium on the weekend against the Red Bulls as well. So pretty good week for NYCFC there as they are further cementing themselves in that fourth place spot for home field advantage, wherever that may be.
Yeah, I think they came out and announced a new stadium as well in the city. No, I'm kidding. That's not actual real news.
It is April 1st.
Right? Yeah. No, but a good enough result because I don't think the playoffs are going to go as well for NYCFC. I just don't think they're on stable ground that I think they wish they were on. But I don't know, middle of the pack playoff team, Jordan. I think there's a lot to work on with NYCFC, but just haven't been the same since Ronnie Dyla left and Tati had kind of just gone elsewhere. So it'd be interesting to see, but kudos to them. I mean, we continue to beat teams that I think kind of shock the world a little bit. So always good in my book when an MLS team can beat international competition.
Yeah, it's becoming a more increasing thing. I know a lot of these games, as people say, are based in the US for a lot of this stuff. So people kind of take those as a little bit of a thing, but we used to not even win these. So the fact that we're continually starting to win some of these games at home against Mexican opponents, I think is a very good sign for the progress, especially an NYCFC team that did not look good recently at all. Being able to pull out a victory. I mean, Tati's still their top goal scorer with 13. They haven't really gotten anywhere close, I don't think, to that right now. Let me see if I can find out who their runner-up is. For goals this year, their runner-up is 7 goals, and that is Pereira and Heber. So, yeah, they're kind of spreading it around more now that Tati's gone. But they were able to get through and win Campeones Cup. They were able to win a big Hudson River Derby, which they've won the game I went to as well. So if they've only played the 2 of those, I think that's it. Sometimes they play 3 of these in a year, so I'm trying to think. But I think they've only played those 2 matchups this year. They would have won both of them. Let me just double check that with the head-to-head here. Because the season also feels kind of long but short at the same time. So they had, they played only twice this year, and they won both of them. So CFC get the upper hand. Last year, those they played 3 times, and 2 times as a Red Bull win and a draw. So NYCFC kind of getting back in the Hudson River Derby good graces, I guess you could say. I hear a lot of shuffling over there. I don't know if it's your mic or...
Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. Yeah, it is my mic. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah,
it's in the wrong thing there. Sorry, guys.
There you go.
Better? That's much better, isn't it? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Much better. Good. It's not my t-shirt mic. I've got like 26 different mics. I've got one on the webcam, on the mic, and then also here on this head, which is lovely. So...
Yeah, you got to have all of the sound coverage. I guess.
The Orlando-based studio is having some issues. Got some lighting issues. We just got some issues, Jordan.
Yeah,
Budget.
Yeah, guess what though? There was no issue in Orlando this weekend as Orlando beat Toronto 4-0. So a pretty big result for Orlando. Makes me about Union's chances against Toronto to finish out the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Torres in the 9th, Kara in the 22nd, McNulton own goal in the 47th, and Akindele in the 84th. So pretty good result for Orlando, especially when they had only 43% of the possession, even though they outshot them 18-11.
Yeah, this was one of those games where though they didn't have much of the ball. It did seem like they were in control the whole game. They had great shot creations. Facundo Torres and Kara's goal were both fantastic. I mean, things you really want to see out of two guys that they bring in on those DP contracts. Just so I think I don't know. It looked good for Orlando. They had lost 2, so getting a win, especially at home, was much needed. They kind of stumbled there a couple games and dropped the game to Atlanta and also got crushed by Philly. So It was good to see, even though it was Toronto, it was still good to see a 4-0 pounding, because I think Toronto's just at that point right now where they're looking forward to next year with all the talent that they do have, and then some pieces that I think they need to add to.
Yeah, so good result for Orlando. Atlanta and Philly drew 0-0. This, not much to really talk about here except for Blake standing on his head, but this also kind of put it right into LAFC's hands for Supporter Shield. So we'll see how this shakes out, as Philly only has 2 games left and LAFC only have 2 games left. And they're even on points. And LAFC has 2 more wins, which is the first tiebreaker. So we'll see how that shakes out. There, Montreal beat the Revs 1-0 at Gillette Stadium. So Montreal keeps chugging along here. They're in 2nd place in the East. Also, Philly wrapped up a Champions League spot. So did Orlando with the Open Cup. Did NYCFC book one with Campeones Cup? I thought I saw a post about it, but I can't find it now. And LAFC should pretty much have it wrapped up too, since they're going to take the Western Conference. So we already know 3 of the Open Cup teams. So that's fun. Charlotte and Chicago. What a game this was, by the way. We had Chicago take the lead in. Then they're going to go 2-0 up in the 30th minute. Then Charlotte comes back. They save it for late. Swiderski in the 68th minute. Nuno Santos in the 76th. And Swiderski in the 90+6 to win the game. That puts Swiderski with 10 goals on the season. Charlotte now has 2 straight victories after a slump where they had lost 3 in a row. They're not going to make the playoffs. Look, they technically still can. But I think at this point they're probably out. But a good first season after going through firing a manager, not finishing last, I think, is pretty big. I think we had them projected for last, did we? Yes, we did. So they got a pretty good season. 10th place. That's 4 more higher than we had thought. And really, at this point, they're just 4 points out of a playoff spot. They have 3 games left. They're one of those teams that have 3 games left. So do a lot of teams in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's doable, but for me, I'm calling it. I don't think they're going to get there, but it's still nothing to be ashamed of, I think, for this first season.
Yeah, you could be like Cincinnati, a perennial loser. Not this year, I'll give them that. But you don't want to get into that funk of becoming the new team and just being the awful new team for a couple of years. It does look like they've got like this understanding of how to build a team, where you and I questioned heavily that maybe they didn't have the front office staff to put together a team and a director of football where we thought they would be competitive like this. We thought it would kind of be a you know what storm. But it hasn't been that way. I mean, it really has been surprising. I'm glad that they've done well because I think it puts another team in the East that is competitive because with Nashville leaving, you kind of left a big hole because that was a good team in the East. Now you've got Charlotte added back in, one of the better fan bases. So, yeah, I mean, above everybody's expectations, I believe, just looking at the teams below them and probably most people thought that they had a good chance to win Wooden Spoon. But, I mean, this has really turned around and done really well, especially since MAR left. So it seems like this team has good footing and a good foundation. Now let's just see what they do to add in the summer. I do think they're going to go in and look possibly to add some more creators on the attack just because the goal total is kind of alarming. I think they are bottom of the East almost. Yeah, like bottom 3 it looks like. The only people below them are the Fire and DC. So, yeah, I mean, they've got some work to do, but a really good start for them.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could probably look at and be a little disappointed of is that at one point they were in the playoff spots, but I mean, it is what it is, right? KC beat Minnesota 4-1. What a failure from Minnesota here, by the way. But a good game from SKC. They needed this. They needed some sort of good result at Children's Mercy Park because they've been awful. Boxall with a own goal in the 31st minute. Thomi or how do you say it? Thomi? 41st minute. Agata in the 45th and Agata in the 81st. Garcia is the lone Minnesota goal in the 57th minute. So where does that leave SKC? Well, for a while, they were the worst team in MLS. They are now in 12th place in the West with Houston and San Jose below them. So I would say ultimately a success of we lost our 2 DPs. We were very awful bottom of not just the West, but of both divisions for a while. And we were able to come out of it, and they haven't lost in their last 5. And their prize right now is that they are actually 4 points up on Houston with 2 games to go. They can finish with 2 teams below them in the West, and I think that would probably be fine. Kind of reset next year.
Yeah, and having Agata come in, I mean, he's only played in 10 matches, has 7 goals, 2 assists. I mean, that's huge. A forward that they needed when Alan Polito went down, and somebody I think that they take forward and hopefully can build off of. Only 23 years old from Nigeria, I think that flag is. So it'd be interesting to see what SKC, because like we've talked about, Jordan, I mean, this team is never like that bad on paper. I mean, I think they just have a couple things they go in and fill, and then Peter Vermees has this team back up at playoff contention. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled that they finally found a scorer. Let's just hope he stays healthy, just because they've had a crapshoot of injuries this year, and it's been really unfortunate. They can just derail seasons.
Do you know the last time they lost?
I want to say probably the beginning of August, maybe?
August 13th.
Okay. Wow, a month?
Yeah, that's their longest stretch. This is their longest stretch without a loss, by the way. Because before that, they had a win against the Galaxy, and before that, they had 3 straight losses.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had a draw and a win. Then they had 2 losses before that, a win, 2 losses before that, a draw, a win, a loss, draw, loss, win, loss, win, loss, all the way up to the beginning of the season. So, hey, maybe they finally got their footing. They have Seattle and Dallas next. If they can go without another loss the rest of the year, it'd be pretty impressive, I think. Minnesota's end of it here, though. I got to bring this up, Logan. You had a prediction back in June, I think it was here, that Minnesota will miss the playoffs. This was June 30th, right after my trip, or on my trip. Yeah, right after my trip. I don't think it's going to happen. They technically are not clinched, but they are 6 points above RSL right? No, actually, hold on.
3.
3 points. Sorry, I was looking at goals against for whatever reason. That's where my
Mhm.
eye went. Okay. They're only 3 points above
2, sorry.
2 points above. Yeah, two. Sorry, we're really messing this up. 2 points above RSL, 5 points above Vancouver, with 2 games to go. Seattle still has a game in hand, though. I'm thinking they're about to fall apart here. Still, they had that 2 good wins and then a loss, and now it's going to be a little rough, I think, for Seattle to make it. So if you're looking at just RSL and Vancouver, it's still possible. I'm leaning to the fact of I think Minnesota will be fine. I think they'll get in, but to go up against SKC and lose 4-1 is a little rough, I think, for the Loons.
Yeah, they're just trying to give it away, it seems. Like they really tried. Minnesota really tried to fall out of the playoffs. But like you said, Jordan, though, like if you look at the games left for a couple of these teams, so take, for instance, the Sounders. They do have Cincinnati, who are pretty good. So, I mean, that's a good matchup. And then I think that might be what keeps them away from actually getting up into the playoff hunt is the fact that they do have to play Cincinnati. It is at home. It's at Lumen, which could kind of it could be beneficial for them. But if you look at if you look at who Minnesota have left, I think it's Vancouver and San Jose.
Yeah.
So it's not if they do fall out. I mean, it's the epic collapse. That,
the Vancouver one might mean a lot depending on
right.
what the last game of the season they're playing for, right? Because Vancouver is only 5 points back. So if Vancouver wins the next game and Minnesota loses their next game, it's technically a 2-point margin going into decision day, and that could be something very interesting to look forward to on October 9th or whatever date it is. Yeah, October 9th.
Mm-hmm.
But also, do you know the last time they've won, by the way?
Minnesota?
Yeah, you probably have it up.
No, I don't. August 13th.
August 27th against the Dynamo. They've lost 3 in a row, then drew, and then lost. Now, they've all faced very tough teams in that time. They lost to RSL, they lost to Dallas, they lost to Portland, they drew with LAFC, and they lost to SKC. That's really the biggest blunder out of all of them. The other ones were all playoff teams. So we'll see how it goes from there. Just want to bring up the prediction. I'm not trying to, shame Minnesota fans or anything. I just, for a while, I was laughing at the prediction because they were sitting 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Probably back in August. And then they've dropped down to 6 now, and the points are still very close. So, look, RSL might be coming for Galaxy, or they might be coming for Minnesota. We'll see how it shakes out for the rest of the season. But we'll keep an eye on Logan's prediction from June 30th.
If Galaxy win, they're 46. They go a point above because they have a game in hand. So it would put Minnesota 7th. If RSL had done anything, and in the stretch that Minnesota hadn't done anything either, we'd be talking about Minnesota just choking again. It just seems like this team, man. I'd be Heath. I mean, I know he just signed a contract, but I'd want to burn it.
They really turned it around after that contract, and then literally end of August.
Yep.
Fall apart, and not even respectable losses. 3-0 to RSL,
right.
3-0 to Dallas, 1-0 to Portland, that's fine. 1-1 to LAFC, that's fine. 4-1 to SKC. 3 of those losses are 3-goal margins.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
against
good. It's not good
great
for the goal
teams.
differential.
Yeah,
they're now a negative goal differential by guess how many? 3 goals. 3 is the magic number, I guess. That said, yeah, but literally, if RSL wins any of those games that they've struggled in, because they've lost to LAFC, they lost to Austin, they lost to Cincy, and they drew with DC. If they win any of those games, you're looking at a much closer race in this downstretch here. So we'll see how it goes. Austin and then drew 1-1. That's cool.
Officially gives Austin, or officially clinches the number 1 spot for LAFC. That's the only thing it really did.
Yeah, I was it not already because they're 9. Oh yeah, I guess because
they would have been 6.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're at 55 and 64, right? So how many points is that? 9.
Yeah. So if LAFC had lost
3 games,
Like
Oh,
if
okay,
LAFC had
okay.
lost, or I think, yeah, a loss or no, a loss would have done it, but they just needed a win or a draw, I think, to clinch it. They did.
Okay, okay. So there you go. Austin is in second. They're pretty much clear at this point. They have a 5-point gap on Dallas. Obviously, with 2 games left, there is the chance of Austin losing both, Dallas winning both. That could switch those, but still uncomfortable, and Austin locking in as a 2. And Dallas and Nashville are 3 and 4 right now. Nashville is 1 point up on Portland and 2 points up on Minnesota, 4 points up on Galaxy for that 4th spot, that last home playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty big for Nashville. They haven't lost in their last 5. They got it. They have arguably the MVP in Hani Mukhtar. If they can close this stretch out, lock into that 4th playoff spot, getting a home game in the West playoffs, their first season in, I'll feel pretty darn good about that after they were kind of bouncing in and out of the playoffs all season at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting just because I like with both, I guess, the West and the East, you kind of have a clog up in the middle-ish, sort of, kind of. East, not as much. West, definitely. The West has a whole ton of teams right there in that midsection.
It's that 4th spot to like 8 or 9. Like that is kind of a problem. And we want that to be. We want that to be a problem going into decision day, because I really want something like some reason. Yeah. Something to be like last year where RSL jumped in and Rapids took first. Like that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah, I would say the East has that problem right at the bottom of the playoffs. The West, it's that midsection, like you said, with the chance, and it's usually like I would say LA Galaxy, and if LA Galaxy lose that game in hand, then it becomes like really interesting on decision day, just because all these teams are going to be playing each other that are kind of hovering right there in that spot with Vancouver, Minnesota. I mean, there's some really good matchups there, I think, that are coming down the pipeline. I wonder who RSL. I'm going to check who they play real quick. They play to end the season. Ooh, they play Galaxy next. So,
all right. Yeah, I didn't even look ahead. I haven't looked ahead yet.
Yikes. So, okay. Wow. And then
and Galaxy, hold on. Their game in hand is Quakes during the international break.
So if they win that, then it really sucks. I mean, not for Galaxy fans, obviously, but for neutral fans, if you wanted a battle, you want Galaxy to drop a game.
Yeah, I guess you would, huh? I want Galaxy to make it in because I keep predicting them to get in the playoffs. I need this to be true one of these years, or else I'm gonna have to keep doing it.
They're in good shape, I will say. I mean, they haven't been in great form.
No, but they just won. That was their first win in a long time.
But that being said, I mean,
but they're playing against San Jose.
Yeah, if you can't beat San Jose, then you might not belong in the playoffs.
It's usually a cure for most teams.
Right. They played well on their draw. They played well on their draw against Dallas, but that was against 10 men. So, all right. Did you see that? Did you see Paul Arriola do that?
Do what?
He swung at I don't know who it was, but he fouls Arriola, and Arriola went like this and swung at him.
No, I didn't see that.
It was wild. I was like, I've never seen Paul lose his temper like that.
All right. So, Vancouver on the midweek beat LA 3-0, and then they beat Seattle 2-1. This is exactly what Vancouver needed to do to stay in playoff contention here, as they sit 9th with 40 points, with Galaxy and Seattle bunched in near them. So they definitely needed to take those. Seattle, I'm calling it. They're DOA. I don't think that they're going anywhere at this point. But I thought it was funny how for a while we thought there might not even be a Cascadia team in there, and we got Portland pretty well up there right now. They can still drop. They're only 3 points above RSL. And we got Vancouver fighting for a spot. What if we end up still with 2 Cascadia teams after we thought we might get none? That would be pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Portland, man, just caught fire. I mean, that really is what it was. I mean, they ran, I think, 5
When's
straight.
their last loss? Let me look at this. Their last loss is August 21st.
Wow.
To SKC 4-1.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, just like Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, maybe that spells really bad things for Minnesota. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, Portland. Portland's kind of on one of those runs, Jordan. You don't want to see them in the playoffs. Like
if they keep it up, because
Yeah.
I do want to say their last 2, LAFC and RSL.
Yeah.
So that's a rough. The RSL really has the roughest stretch, I think, at the final 2, really, right?
Yeah, but I will say, I mean, maybe it's a good thing, I guess, that Portland should be happy that whoever's wanting Portland to fall should be happy that LAFC are still in contention for the Supporter Shield. Like if Union had run away with it, right, then LAFC these games wouldn't matter. But now, if you're Minnesota or Galaxy or even Nashville, you're just licking your chops because you're like, all right, they could drop some points here because heck, Portland, and you don't want Portland to get home field. I mean, that would be just a disaster. They can't really, I don't see them catching Dallas. So they'd only have one home game, but depending on who won. But there's some good scenarios, Jordan. There's some good narratives in here.
Oh, yeah. So let me talk about RSL real quick, too. They lost to Cincy. They have Galaxy next, like you mentioned, and then they have Timbers right after that. That is their last 2 games. If they're going to make it in, they're going to have to probably beat both of those because Timbers are 3 points ahead of them, and the Galaxy are equal points with them depending on that game in hand. So looking at it, RSL, who've really been in a tough stretch, have only one positive lately, and that's that I guess they got a new sponsorship for their stadium. It's really the only good positive RSL has had lately.
I mean, they got you out of town, so they're probably
they got me out of town. But you know what? The curse is back now. Rio Tinto is gone.
The curse is real,
and it's America's first financial or whatever. Boring name. So RSL, you know, they've had a tough stretch here recently too. They lost to LAFC. They drew with DC. That's one they probably should have picked up some points on. Austin, they lose to Austin and they lose to Cincy. So they've kind of been in the stretch at the end here where they've been playing like out of those teams and the teams I mentioned, only one of them are not playoff teams. That's DC. So they're in this tough stretch right now. And I feel sorry for RSL fans because I don't think they're going to make it. But the chance is there. They just have to win the games in front of them to have a perfect shot. They can finish max with 49 points, which could move them all the way up to 4th. I'm not saying it will. Right? That would take Nashville losing the rest, Timbers losing the rest, United losing the rest, and Galaxy losing the rest of the games. But, you know, getting 6 more points, that's how much of a swing it is in the West right now. 6 points, 2 wins could move you from 8th to 4th. Their issue is that they're running up against a very informed team with the Timbers to finish the season, right? And then they also finish with the Galaxy the week before, who have struggled, and maybe that's their best bet for 3 points, which could move them to 46 points, and maybe they get in. But I don't know. I'm feeling a little down on RSL at this point. But again, Timbers have a tough stretch coming up. LA kind of has a tough stretch minus the San Jose, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota has, I think, a tough stretch as well. What was Minnesota's? I just talked about it.
Vancouver.
No, they got San Jose and Vancouver.
Yeah.
Vancouver's the toughest one out of those. I don't know. This is what's fun is that it seems like the schedule predictor knew exactly who was going to be in contention and had them all battle it out for the last 3 weeks. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's literally that 5 to 9 group. Well, even 10, like 5 to 10 group. Just they're all playing each other with a mix of like Cincinnati at some random point for Seattle. So yeah, it's weird. But like you said, it would be funny if RSL stumbled into the playoffs twice and Galaxy stumbled out of the playoffs twice, right in a row.
Just
same teams.
Repeat. Like, I think we've seen this before.
Literally a repeat of last year. I mean, they finished level on points last year. I think it was just RSL's. I guess they.
Who's got the win tiebreaker right now? Galaxy does.
Yeah.
Oh, if they ever tie with Timbers have the same amount of wins as RSL right now. But if RSL ties them on points, they would have the extra win.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole lot of scoreboard watching because I mean, like you said, Portland could fall right out.
Yeah, like, you got LAFC and RSL, right? That's is that who they have?
Who?
Timbers have LAFC and RSL.
Yeah,
that's 2 tough games.
So they could. I mean, after a really nice stretch, they could literally fall right out. That's how bad they were at the beginning of the year. Like this team is somebody that this team is the team we should be talking about, like running at the top 2 with the way that they're playing. But because they started so poorly, same with Seattle. Like if Seattle hadn't had such an atrocious beginning, they would at least be somewhat in contention. They're just so far out of it right now. Like they're the team that it takes a miracle for them to get. Like all these things have to go right.
Yeah, Seattle takes right now they're 4 points back of Galaxy. They have an extra game in hand, not of Galaxy, but of every other team, because they have 3 games left. So let's say they win the last 3 games. They're not going to. They haven't won 3 in a row for I don't know how long.
Right.
But if they did, that'd put them at 48 points.
The third.
They'd be 4th point. They'd be 4th.
But everybody else has to play. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else has to play. And Seattle finishes it with
Cincinnati,
Cincy, Sporting, San Jose.
So they actually have a really decent
They have a shot.
Right.
They have a shot at sports. Bless you.
Thank you.
I want to see if they've won 3 in a row at all this year. I don't know if they have.
Gosh, these are crazy though. Like
they have not.
Really?
They have not won 3 in a row all year. They won, drew, won, 1-1, loss, 1-1, draw, win. That's their best stretch. Loss, win, loss, 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 win, loss, draw, loss, win, loss. And they started out the season with 2 losses, of course. But yeah, so looking at that, their best stretch ever was going 4 games without a loss. And that was back in May to June. And you know what? They were actually playing good teams. Charlotte, Vancouver, LAFC, Sporting, Kansas City. I mean, Sporting's not great, but I mean, Sporting's been kind of like winning all the weird games this year.
The good thing is by this time tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, we'll know where those 2 teams, Galaxy and Seattle, sit. Because they both play. One plays Saturday against San Jose, which is LA, and then Seattle, right?
Seattle plays the 27th.
Yeah,
against Cincy.
Yeah, which is a week from tomorrow. So we'll know going into next week's, like the end of next week, where all these teams sit in the West. The East is kind of funky too, where we'll know all the important teams pretty much, except for Orlando.
Yeah, let's look at the East. We've looked at the West a lot, right? So we have Philly. We have Philly leading the East, 64 points. Montreal's in second with 59. They're probably clear with second at this point, right? They are. They technically
are clear. Yeah.
Red Bulls down is where it gets a little more complicated. Red Bulls are in third with 50 points. NYCFC's in fourth with 49. And then you have Orlando in fifth with 45 points, but a game in hand. Cincy in sixth with 45 points, but a game in hand. That game is Seattle. Inter Miami in seventh with 42 points and a game in hand. Crew in eighth with 31 games played and 42 points.
And a game in hand.
They got a game in hand. Then you have Charlotte with a game in hand as well, but we already talked about them and their prospects. Atlanta sits ninth with 40 points. So they're only 2 points out of a playoff spot, but they don't have a game in hand of most of those teams. Who does Atlanta finish the season with? Because I'm getting ready to say they're done. They finished the season with New England and NYCFC. Those are two winnable games. Those are two very winnable games.
Yeah.
So Atlanta, that put them at 46 points. They can sneak into 7th or 6th. I don't think they will. They can. I think if there's a team that's going to make it in, it's going to be the Crew.
I think so too. Yeah.
They've kind of hit a little bit of a rough patch with 3 draws and a loss in their last 4. They haven't won since August 31st against Miami. And if they ever end up even on points, Logan, win tiebreaker puts Miami above them. Miami has 12 wins to the Crew's 9, even though Crew have a +5 goal differential and -11 for Miami. So that is where the win tiebreaker really throws stuff into a loop. I can see, look, I understand why the win tiebreaker is what it is, because I would actually think Miami deserves it more than the Crew if they won more games.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they lost more games. That's where it's like, I mean, they're giving up 52 goals. I mean, I don't know. Crew's only giving up 36. That is 36 goals, Logan. That is the second best defense in the East, and they sit in 8th place.
Yeah. They just don't score like the other big teams.
Chucho's at 9, and he came in a month ago, and Zella Ryan's at 9. So that if they had a full season of Chucho or Hernandez, they probably are easily.
Yeah. Well, here's the fun part too: is the Crew, honestly, if you look at goal differential, have been better than Orlando City as well. But you have the same kind of funky thing. The Crew have drawn 15 games. I guess. I don't know. What do you think of that? It's just so this team's just bleh. I don't know how to explain this team. If you said, all right, Jordan, tomorrow, if the playoffs started and somehow Crew get into it, would you expect them to be able to beat teams? I just don't think they can.
I'd be scared of them. Format. I would be scared of them.
Yeah. Even with just 15 draws? They've only beaten
with Chucho in there now scoring goals and I mean, look, they still don't score a lot, I guess, but right. I don't know. I feel like there'd be somebody.
I mean, they'd also be going up against Montreal, which Montreal had played really well. So, I just don't
So they lost to Montreal earlier this year, and did they beat them at all? They've only played them once. Is that right? They only played Montreal once.
Maybe because of the imbalance, maybe. Or no, there's no imbalance anymore. That doesn't.
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Oh, there it is twice. They drew. Okay, so they drew and they lost. So here's what they got left. They've got Red Bulls left on the 1st. They have to make up a suspended game on the 5th. This was a game against Charlotte that stopped due to rain. They'd actually started playing. I think
it was
0-0 right now.
Big time
and they have to pick that game back up. Let me see if I can find out what minute it was in. I guess they would pick it up right from that minute.
Yeah, they would.
What minute were they in? It doesn't say. Right? Yeah.
What date was it?
It was I don't know the original date. The scheduled date is October 5th.
They were in the 40. Wait, no, that's just possession. What the heck? Hold on. Match report.
I don't think it got far because each team only had 1 to 4 shots. There was only a few amount of crosses. Each team had 5.
I'm trying to even.
I don't think
they don't even have their minutes listed. What the heck?
Yeah, that's weird. Well, if we can figure that out, we'll figure it out. And then they face Orlando at the end of the season. So they got Red Bulls, makeup game with Charlotte, and then
you were right, 16th minute one game.
16th. All right. Yeah. So they got pretty full game to play against Charlotte, and then they finish with City. Now, here's the thing too. This is a game that's most of these teams are making it up during this period here. This is going to be they're going to have a stretch of October 1st, October 9th, October 1st, October 5th, October 9th. So they might have a little bit difficulty just playing that many games in a row.
When other teams haven't either. So
yes, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Red Bulls. I think they can beat the Red Bulls, even though Red Bulls have been good this year. They've kind of been wishy-washy. Charlotte Crew can absolutely beat, and then they have Orlando, who
is it at home?
It's an away game for the Crew, so
Oh,
it's
they
a
got that in
home
the
game
bag.
for Orlando. So I think the Crew can make it in. I'm pretty much cutting it off at the Crew.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Technically, Atlanta can. Maybe
so
I go to
Charlotte,
Atlanta, but I'm not going Charlotte and below. They're most of these teams are knocked out. I think the Fire have been officially ruled out now. It's literally just Revs and up that are still mathematically possible.
I will say Inter Miami looks good. They've got 2 games. They have some momentum. They played
Higuain has been scoring, man.
Right.
He's been
13 goals, dude.
A renaissance.
Yeah. 2-1 against the Crew, so they beat a good Crew team. I mean, playoff team, or at least contention. And then they went and beat DC United when they just kept putting DC kept putting them on the mat, and then they would respond. It was like, wow, this is a really good team in Miami. Like, they're young. They've got a good little core, I think, that they're building. I'm excited for Inter Miami, just about the same as, Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati and Inter Miami have kind of figured out, all right, we got some good pieces. I think it was great. You and I talked about how awful we thought they were going to be, Inter Miami, because of just the turnover. And we talked to Alex about this. Like, it was just, I think a team that we just expected to be terrible, but they've been actually pretty decent. Just shore up the defense, and you've got a team that's competitive. So.
Now, during this game with DC and Miami, they had a little bit of scuffle. Apparently, they had claimed Taxi Fountas had used some sort of racial slur on one of the Miami players. The refs said they didn't hear it. The VAR said they didn't hear it. So we don't really know. MLS is investigating, so we'll see what they can come up with on that. But just kind of wanted to bring that up because I know that was kind of a big topic yesterday. Of course, we don't condone any sort of racial slurs or language being thrown about on the field, but we'll see. I think it is interesting when they say like they didn't hear it and then the VAR checked. So I'm like, wonder how good that actually is. Like,
yeah,
because like they don't have mics everywhere. So I'm really wondering how much they can check. They just checked that like minute it was supposed to happen and say, I didn't hear anything. Or do they have any other way of other additional footage or sound, or I don't know, but I guess we'll find out when the investigation concludes.
I would say, like, for racial slur, that's going to be a big suspension. I feel like it's got no room in the game. They ban fans from the stadium, like, when that happens. So, like, and we don't usually typically have this, do we? Like, we don't.
No.
Maybe more so I would say more so in soccer than any other sport, maybe. Like, that I could see this actually being an issue.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing, though. I'm thinking if it's going to be a suspension, I'm thinking 4 games, because I know that doesn't sound like a lot.
It sounds like a lot to me.
It was, I think the last precedence that I can remember is, I think it was Legit who used a gay slur.
Yes.
And I think he got 4.
He did. Yeah, you're right. That's right.
And if they give him more than that, I wonder, like, are you setting like we handle racial slurs differently
more than homophobic?
Yeah. That's what I wonder. Like, do they want to cross that line? Do they want to walk that? I feel like it would just be 4 games. I think that's what he got. Is that what he got?
I could see that, and maybe the club finding him or disciplining him somehow. Because we don't see a lot of that either. Like, we don't see, like, while the league might hand something down, you also have that they handle it internally. They'll handle, like, that could be a multitude of things. It just depends, I think, on the club. Like, they could fine him and not tell anybody they fined him. Like,
he got suspended 2 games.
Okay. I thought it was 4.
I just Googled it.
Okay.
I would say it's going to be more than 2 if they find this, I think.
Do we know who it was directed at?
No.
I always wondered who, like what?
I don't think so.
I don't understand it. Like, I never did get it. Like it happened when I was playing sports all the time. Like people would say stupid stuff, and especially back in the day when that wasn't that was something that I for some reason society thought was acceptable at some point. Like it's so crazy to me how much like times have changed.
Yeah.
Like that, remember that? Like, I mean, I'm sure you do. Like in school, like name calling and stuff like that. That was such a thing in the 90s and 2000s. Like and people thought it was funny and it was part of like a comedic act. And now it's like, it is, and it should be like, it should be called out. Like there's no room for that.
It'd be that stuff. It'd be the R word. It'd be all kinds of like.
That one still gets me like.
That one throws me.
I cringe.
Off, man.
Yep.
So good. Yeah, there's a
seriously.
It's good we're making progress, right?
Yeah.
But so if he gets found guilty of this, I would assume more than 2 games. I would think. I mean, I don't know if they want to just. That sounds like a slap on the wrist of just like, here's 2 games. By the way, like you're not going to say. And you know what? For DC, 2 games doesn't mean anything at this point.
Right.
It's their last 2 games of the season. He'd be like early vacation. So they gotta have something if he did it.
Christian Benteke scored though, Jordan. First
yes,
goal
he did. His first goal for MLS. Yep.
It was a great goal too.
Good build up. It was pretty good. Pretty fun. So Miami beat DC 3-2. That was on Sunday. All right, so that's where they sit. And looking at the East, I'm feeling pretty good about Cincy still making it. They haven't lost recently in a while. And I'm pretty confident with Orlando making it in. And that's where I'm kind of cutting the line off at, that 5th, 6th, and 7th spot. So, if anything, I think maybe it's going to be Miami or Crew that are going to get that last. And that's really what I think is interesting. Of course, this is MLS, so I could be wrong. And, like, we come back here next week or whenever some of these games in hands are played and we come back and it's actually, like, the Crew leapfrog Cincy somehow, or like that's possible. But if I had to make a prediction right now, we all know how good we are at predictions, right? So I would say that I think maybe the Crew gets in for Miami, but otherwise I think we're pretty much looking at the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Yeah, it's hard to put any kind of confidence in behind Inter Miami, and that's too bad just because they played pretty well in the last 2 games and pretty well for the season. I mean, from what people thought was going to happen. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the Crew, I don't know. It just feels like Miami's just ready to kind of like relinquish that spot. So, Jordan, you want to hear a fun fact? I'm looking at this and I was shocked. Do you know the last time that Cincinnati lost a match?
Oh,
like I was floored.
Let me look at what dates are even possibilities. August 13th?
No.
Earlier?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Really?
Yeah. And then I'll give you another fun one. Then before this, they lost a match, and it was way back. It's nuts. This is nuts.
They only have 8 losses, so that's not. Yeah, they're pretty straight with this.
Nuts.
I don't know, when was it?
Last loss was July 17th. Before
what?
that,
Really?
Before that was May 28th. That's
really.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 draws. They just draw everybody. They really do.
Yeah, they had a win gap from June 24th to August 6th, and it was just all draws and that 1 loss.
Isn't that nuts, though? I was looking at this crazy. Like 1, 2, 3.
You know what? Because
they're losses in the beginning of the year.
When you look at them having 8 losses on the season, you're like, they've been probably evenly spread out. No, they had 4 losses in like the first
April.
2 months, right? 5 losses in the first 2 months.
Yep.
And then no losses until May 21st, May 28th, and then they went on that stretch until July 17th. So there you go. They have Seattle, Chicago, and DC next. They might get 1 more loss if it's Seattle, but I think they can beat Chicago and DC, or at least draw, and they'll
3
be pretty
draws
safe.
at least. Yeah.
They'll be pretty safe, I think.
But that's still wild to me. Like, good on them. I mean, they were atrocious last year. And to be able to, I mean, stay level with some of these really good teams, I'll give it to them. Although I say that, Jordan, and then now I'm looking at their draws, and they're not great teams. They're all below them, pretty much. So, but they've beaten good teams, like, which is wild to me. That's a weird. They got a weird schedule too. Like, they've had a really odd schedule.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Like,
but I have faith in like Pat Noonan and you know what they're building there. So, and Brenner's been coming on very well this year, so I think they're safe.
And Lucho, I mean, he's been a godsend there. I mean, just
Brandon Vasquez, they've had it all this year. All right, I guess we can take a look at the games coming up here.
It's time for the Match of the Week preview.
Match of the Week preview, where we talk about what games are coming up here. We're laughing because if you didn't, I accidentally cut Logan off mid-sentence here to play the clip, and I think it scared the crap out of him, and I apologize. I thought I gave it enough time when I said we're gonna look ahead.
I was so scared. It was so scary. Oh,
so we have some Leagues Cup showcases coming on. Cincy plays against Chivas Wednesday, September 21st on ESPN at 7 o'clock. 9 o'clock, Nashville faces off against Club America. That's on ESPN as well. And then we have RSL and Atlas at 10 o'clock on Thursday, September 22nd on TUDN and ESPN Plus. Friday, September 23rd, 8:25 a.m., Japan, USA, facing off ESPN2, TUDN, Unimas, and ESPN Plus for that one. So that's fun. Saturday, September 24th, San Jose, LA have that game in hand, 10 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Then Tuesday, the 27th, Saudi Arabia versus US at 2 o'clock on FS1. Seattle has Cincinnati at 10 o'clock. And maybe we'll record, I don't know, we probably can't record Monday, right? Because we would literally be talking one US game and one MLS game. So I'm thinking maybe we'll figure out the appropriate schedule.
Tuesday might work. Like, if we talk to US men's now, it would be a long episode. We could do Wednesday because then.
Yeah, might have to do Wednesday.
Yeah, let's do Wednesday just because then Saudi and Japan, and then the two games that we talked about would have been played.
Yeah, probably be a short episode still, I think, at that point.
Yeah. Be fun to talk U.S. men's national team just because, I mean, dang, Jordan, we're like 60 days, right around 60 days for the World Cup.
Yeah, 61, 62, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I also just wanted to share before we go here, the giveaway is ending tomorrow, Tuesday, September 20th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. We're giving away 2 Panini sticker packs, one, a booklet, and 10 Panini sticker packs for the World Cup for each giveaway bundle that we're doing. So we're going to get 2 winners, pretty much. I just butchered this whole thing. But yes, that is what we're doing. And that is going to be drawn. The last time to enter is Tuesday night. We'll probably draw it on Wednesday and then reach out to the winners. So if you haven't done that yet, go to our Twitter. It's pinned tweet still. Go to the main tweet there and just retweet it, like it, leave us reviews, stuff like that get your entries in so we can give a prize to you. Also, as a special thing, too, we're giving away this magnet, We Are Fooked, that we made earlier. That is going to be part of the prize pack as well. All right, anything else, Logan, before we head out of here?
No, my soul's back in my body, and I'm ready to go. Get the hell out of me, dude. I feel like I was at Horror Nights all over again.
Yeah, well, why pay $100 for Horror Nights when you got it here on the show?
Yeah. Right. Jordan, I will say I am very excited about a certain someone coming back soon. You know,
Like the Phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
It's that guy.
Brendan Aronson, yeah.
Jordan's got his kit. Check it out on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I posted
cool.
that to my Leeds Aronson kit. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, looking forward to U.S. men's national team soccer being back, Jordan.
Yeah, I also got my posted a tweet as well of what I think is a better U.S. jersey than what they released. So you can check that out too. It's bringing what everybody wants back, the Waldos. So check that out on Twitter as well. But yeah, all right. Well, thanks for watching or listening. You can reach us at Stateside Show on all of the socials, and we will catch you next time.